It's a beautiful Tuesday morning in the city of Lagos. Good morning, Lagos. Good morning, Nigeria. Welcome to the conversation here on Lagos Television. I am Abimbola Bello.
And I am Joy Olu. Good morning and welcome to the conversation.
Today is February 4th, and of course, it is a day set aside to commemorate World Cancer Day. And of course, today, again, world over, the commemoration of Cancer Day it is. And of course, we do know that there are specific days for specific cancer awareness, but February 4th is for all kinds of cancer. And it's amazing to note that maybe just two parts of the body isn't affected by cancer, because every part of the body has cells. And you know, it is probably just the hair shafts. That's not the root of the hair, because again, the root of the hair might have cells, and then just the tip of the nails. Those are the two places that necessarily may not be cancerous, but every other part of the body is susceptible to cancer. And it means that, you know, awareness is key, and early detection is also very key. And like medical practitioners will say, any form of cancer is not a death sentence if caught early and if treated early. So again, all attention will be shifted to today as world over, World Cancer Day has been commemorated.
Right, they said Abimbola, it's safe or safer, you know, to detect early, and then that can be prevented. And of course, cancer it doesn't just affect the patient, it also affects the family members, the caregivers. But it's a good thing that this month, this day, today, February 4, is World Cancer Day. And I know that we are very superstitious on this side. We are very, God forbid, it's not my portion. Not to say that prayer isn't powerful, but again, you watch and you pray.
Yeah, I like that, you watch and you pray. So please just get tested, and also know your body. Once your body is giving you signs or telling you something, please get it checked out. All right, that's it. On that note, let's begin the show, and let's start with the news points for today. The first news point on this side of the table today is no going back on reforms, Tinubu tells World Bank team. President Bola Tinubu on Tuesday declared that his administration would not reverse course on its economic reforms. He also vowed to sustain transparency and accountability in governance. Speaking when he received a World Bank delegation led by Managing Director of Operations Ann Bajade at the State House, Abuja, the president said the reforms, though painful at the beginning, were necessary to strengthen Nigeria's economy and create opportunities for its young population. He said, and I quote, "Since we went into the journey of reform, we have our hands on the plow, and we're never going to look back. It is very clear that initially it was painful and difficult, but those who win are not those who give up along the way in their difficult times." End of quote. The president emphasized that Nigeria, as the heart of the African continent, must take necessary steps to transform its economy, particularly through agricultural mechanization and support for farmers. The president specifically called on the World Bank to assist in establishing mechanization centers to help farmers, enhance seedling programs, and facilitate access to locally produced fertilizers as Nigeria's petrochemical industry increases output. He noted that his administration's commitment to reform requires difficult decisions, including ending the fuel subsidy regime and unifying the exchange rate despite the initial shock of high inflation. Tinubu urged the World Bank to explore various financing options that could accelerate Nigeria's growth, reduce intermediaries, manage risks, and develop the skills of Nigerians. In her own response, the World Bank leader commended Tinubu's steadfast implementation of reforms over the past 2 years, describing the results as remarkable and commendable. She disclosed that Nigeria has become a frequent example in her discussions with presidents, policymakers, and investors worldwide due to the achievement recorded in the 2-year period. She noted that while many countries find it easy to slow down, change direction, or reverse reforms during difficult periods, Tinubu had remained steady, which had been widely noted and quoted internationally. I think I'll just leave it there this morning, and the facts that, at some point in time, it looked like, Nigeria's economy was really so gloomy that nobody wanted to identify with Nigeria. But 2 years down the line, I think things are beginning to shapen up and things are beginning to get better. We're not there yet. We're not at that place where we will say, oh, everything is fine. But it's beginning to look hopeful that indeed it feels like this administration knows what really they're doing, talking about reforms and or whatnot. But the president says we are on course. We will maintain the trajectory and continue to work with investors and those who believe in the Nigerian project, which also the World Bank team acknowledged that yes, things have been rough, but it's beginning to look like things are stabilizing, and it feels like Nigeria is on course. But again, I do hope that we will not take the pat on the back, hook, line, and sinker, and relax. It will only, make the country and the handlers of the country, Mr. President and his team, to continue to trudge ahead and see better ways by which to deliver a more economically viable Nigeria.
So the hope is becoming renewed, right? Okay.
Let's take your story, Joy.
Okay. Lagos Assembly orders halt to Makoko waterfront demolition. The Lagos State House of Assembly has directed the immediate suspension of the ongoing demolition exercise at the Makoko community waterfront. The announcement was made by Honorable Nohim Adams, chairman of the ad hoc committee set up by the Speaker, Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa. Adams, who is also the leader of the House, read the committee's resolution following a stakeholders meeting on Tuesday. The decision followed protests by hundreds of displaced Makoko residents at the assembly last week against the demolition, which had heightened tensions and led to the arrest of some activists who are now undergoing trial. The state government has stated that the demolition was necessary to ensure safety as structures were being built beneath high-tension electricity cables. Adams said, and I quote, "On behalf of the Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa, and on behalf of all 40 members of the House, we are directing that all ministries henceforth should stop work with all demolitions. I repeat, all demolitions in Makoko, Okoagbon, and Shogunro communities should stop from today. All demolitions will start until further notice." He also said that the task force that was constituted, that they will need to see the list of the task force because they want all residents fully involved. Let me scroll down to, okay. Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu's special advisor on EGIS and urban renewal, Dr. Babatunde Olajide, he disclosed that the Governor Sanwo-Olu, had set aside $2 million since 2021 for the redevelopment of the Makoko waterfront to meet international standards. And he also said that the state government would compensate residents of Makoko whose properties had been demolished.
Well, of course, I guess this is why governance is there, and that is why there are three arms of government. And this is where checks and balances will also come to bear. And so if the executive is doing something and the legislature feels, okay, we need to wade in for the sakes of the residents, then this is what governance is really all about. So I think now that members of the Lagos State House of Assembly have said that at least demolition work should be stopped for now. Perhaps they will all now convene and sit with residents of that place. Compensation, yes. Relocation maybe also will be part of the deal, and also see how things can be done properly. I mean, if you look at why government is doing this, it's valid.
Oh, yes,
look at the risks involved, look at the health and the safety of the people, and the fact that government owes the citizens a responsibility to ensure that they prevent any kind of outbreak at all, which, of course, if not nipped in the bud, that area is able to start such. But again, things need to be done properly.
You need to put a human face to it.
Yes, human face to it. And maybe, again, sometimes certain things will be done, and unless you close your eyes to do certain things, you might never be able to do it.
Just like the reforms of Mr. President.
Yeah, so
had to close his eyes
maybe
to do it.
Makoko will still need to go, but perhaps maybe in phases, or maybe in a more structured manner than the manner that it is at the moment. But of course, residents must know that government does not hate anybody.
Yeah.
Government doesn't want anybody to be displaced. Government does not want anybody to be homeless. But again, you can't pat certain people at the back at the detriment of a whole larger people. So it is give and take. I'm sure the lawmakers will also, part of their job is lobbying anyway, so they will still lobby the executive to see a better way of getting this particular situation solved.
And then the compensation is for property owners. So how about those who don't own properties?
How will you even identify property owners in that place? Did you buy land
Never
in
can
the
tell you.
first
They can
place?
have paper.
Paper or water?
Water paper.
Water paper, okay. Aqua paper.
Aqua paper.
All right, let's take the last story this morning. Electricity subsidy. FG to deduct 3.6 trillion naira from Federation account. The federal government has proposed a 3.6 trillion naira deduction from the Federation account to fund electricity subsidies in 2026, 2027 and 2028, a move designed to distribute the financial burden across federal, state and local government. The move represents a decisive step by the federal government to confront the rapidly mounting electricity subsidy debt, which has severely constrained liquidity across the power sector, while also strengthening fiscal transparency by making subsidy obligations explicit and better accounted for. The deduction proposal, detailed in the Medium-Term Expenditure Framework Fiscal Strategy paper for 2026 to 2028, reflects a strategic shift towards distributing the financial burden of the power sector across all tiers of government amid growing concerns over unsustainable debts and systematic inefficiencies. It is projected, according to Table 6.2 of the MTEF document, which outlines other FAC deductions under the Federation account revenue, mint poll, VAT and stamp duty, the electricity subsidy for 2026 is pegged at 1.2 trillion naira. It is projected to remain at this level through 2027 and 2028, signaling the government's commitment to stabilizing the sector while preventing hidden liabilities from ballooning into a fiscal crisis. The proposed approach aligns with earlier statements by the Budget Office of the Federation, which indicated plans to end the practice of the federal government bearing electricity subsidy cost alone. I will leave it here. I think it is good if it is done. So, if all tiers of government are sharing in the debts acquired, of course, for electricity tariff, for electricity subsidy, then it's not only the federal government that will bear the cost. Everybody collects money now. The three tiers of government are collecting money. So if at least if that money is coming from the three tiers of government, it will put less pressure on us, the citizens, because at the end of the day, we're the ones paying, whether we have light or not, we're the ones bearing the cost. So I like the fact that it is a plan, and I pray that it comes to fruition. And it is
Amen. Let me put amen.
Yes, it's a 3-year plan from 2026 to 2 years back to 2028. How many small money is the money? Say 1.2
compared to the one that some people used to carry. You know. Whatever that must be done to ensure that
this works.
We have power.
Yes, and power is stable. It's important. It's really important. Now the power has started, failing again. I don't know if it's because of the weather.
Has been collapsing.
Anyway, let's hope that this proposal is one that will see the light of day at the end of the day. All right, let's go into the X platform this morning and take a look at what's trending. I don't have much to say in this one because my team was beaten. I didn't even watch the match anyway. So, Arsenal fans, congratulations to you. Semi-final of Carabao. You beat Chelsea. It's good for you. Now you're advancing to the club final. Congratulations. So, go and play your Carabao when the time comes. If you win, congratulations. Gradually, it's looking like Arsenal might get, all of the trophies this season. Basit said, lie.
Are you sure that name that people used to call them that they see the crown but they don't wear it?
It is not your
fault. Do not follow them.
Sometimes you will see and near it like this and something will happen. Let's hope that when they play the final, of Carabao,
we collect
the final will not elude them. It will not elude them this time around. Anyway, this Carabao Cup, I'm still waiting for all the other big matches. Congratulations to Arsenal for defeating Chelsea last night. So, good for you. Right. I'm not sure Joy has any addition.
No, I don't.
We'll take a quick break. When the conversation returns this morning, we're shifting our attention to health matters. And the fact, column. I keep forgetting. Let's take a quick break. We'll return. It will be time to take the column for today. It's still the conversation here on Lagos Television. Today's column is picked from the Vanguard newspaper, and it is written by Rotimi Fason and titled, "It was not a coup, but a planned bloodbath." And of course, Rotimi started by saying that the sometimes careless manner it reports without bothering to admit its errors probably did it for me. But when Sahara reporters broke the news of a failed coup, I didn't pay it serious attention. The fact that no other mainstream medium followed its lead was a red flag. Premium Times, as I recalled it, later followed up on the report. But then Abuja denied it, and since there was nothing beyond what was reported to support the claim, further speculations about the coup was, as far as I was concerned, of no use. I couldn't see what the government stood to gain by denying it was the target of an attempted coup. Let me flip to the middle of the story, and of course, Rotimi Fason went ahead to say, in a recent interview on Channels Television Sunday Politics, General Christopher Musa, former chair of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the current Minister of Defense, says the government had to conclude investigations backed with evidence before an announcement could be made about some of their officers who were involved in the treasonable act of plotting to unseat an elected government. This makes good sense for a government that has made quite a few avoidable slips and has for what been called names and pelted with various allegations. Any error would have been viewed as attempt at silencing the opposition. And of course, the coup, from what the investigation has so far revealed, was poorly conceived, and its planned execution would have been nothing short of a decapitation of the country's leadership, civilian and military. It's actually a long read, but then Rotimi also noted the investigation should be as thorough as it can be, and not so much as to establish the culpability of those involved, as it is to ensure that no innocent person is framed This is a life and death issue, and all care must be taken to protect the civil liberties of those accused. He ended this piece by saying that how can we talk about this botched coup without mentioning the politicians who literally called for military intervention in the wake of the 2023 elections. And he went ahead to mention a few names. What role did people like this play in instigating soldiers like those now under arrest or investigation? After all, the botched coup had been timed to forestall the peaceful transfer of power on May 29, 2027. And he asked a very pertinent question, and that was how he ended the piece. And he said, who sponsored this coup? Of course, Rotimi, asked many questions in this write-up, but what caught my fancy here will be the fact that if that particular coup was a success, like he put it, it would have been a bloodbath rather than just a military coup, judging from the number of people that were penciled down to have been assassinated during that particular coup. Again, this calls for some thorough thinking, of course, as Nigerians. So let's see how this pans out at the end of the day. And perhaps maybe this question will be answered at a particular point in time. Who actually sponsored that coup? All right, we'll take a quick break. Of course, on the program, we'll take another break. When we return, it will be time to get into the first conversation for today. And today on the program, we'll be taking a look at health management and the influence of social media. Why is everyone suddenly a doctor, a health practitioner on the socials? And you know, they will prescribe things to you in such a convincing manner. I'm never caught in that web, and I don't know how gullible we have suddenly become with the advent of the social media. A doctor will help us clarify some of the issues here on the program today. Please join the conversation after this break.